So with our handsome Mr. H, I want to warm up a little bit with some typical little find its with some name recognition. So I'm going to do again little find it. And then Harley, come. Yes. So again, when working with Mr. H, oh, that was a beautiful little sit. He's like, just kidding, lady. It was just my harness. Ready? Find it. So we like to kind of get him up and wiggling. Nice. Good check back in, sir. So remember too, you want to have your little snacks itty bitty. So every once in a while I have one in here that's a little bit too big. So I break them up even smaller for him. But let's say, for example, he's coming at you and he's really excited, a little overwhelmed. Remember that if you're getting a little bit more of that Tasmanian devil or land shark, that more than likely Mr. H is overwhelmed or a little tired, or his teeth could also be really bothering him and he doesn't know where to use that mouth or what item. So remember, puppies are also just learning about their world through their mouth. So remember that if he is a bit over hungry, I know we mentioned upping his food a little bit, so that way he can, oh, that one's stuck in your mouth. So that way as he's, feeling full, I find puppies are also less mouthy than if they're still very, very hungry and kind of going through some of their teething and usual puppy skills. So again, ready? Harley, come. Yes, nice job. What a smart man. So maybe what we'll do is we'll do a little bit of loose leash walking, see if you can start to reorient back to me. So again, as we're meandering, we might go ahead and feed for this lovely moment where he gets nice and close. And then again, move away. See if he comes to reorient back to me. Yes, nice job. So this is again just a great way to get your puppy to start realizing, well, gee, where's the crazy person that I'm working with? So the crazy snack lady. Yes. And we want him to start thinking there's value in coming into my space and being nearby. He says he's still getting used to his harness. Yes, nice job. So let's say, for example, your puppy, comes out of their crate or out of their little corral, or you step into the kitchen zone where your puppy might be. One of my favorites is to make sure that as you're entering, you give the puppy something to put in their mouth. So if, let's say, as I was going into the little zone, you may want to grab either some training treats or some kibble or something that he can tolerate. And let's say as you're jumping into that little bubble, let's say he's coming at me, he's really excited, I'd go right into a little find it and start to diffuse the energy off of me onto the environment instead. If your puppy is toy driven, I'm just going to grab a toy that's just a little bit out of range. So let's say your puppy is toy driven, you would want to go ahead, and I'm not saying that every time you come into their little zone should you go right into wrestles, but remember that if, let's say, your puppy is right now having a real rough time with their mouth, their teething is really bugging them, I would recommend to come into the environment and see if you can offer something they can put in their mouth instead of you. So if, let's say, he just likes to hold the whole thing, perfectly fine. I'd rather have him be mouthing this than your pants, than your shoes, than your arms or hands. So let's say your puppy goes and grabs for the toy, what a good boy. We could then go and play with him or practice sometimes with several toys, getting him to exchange, as I mentioned earlier, with that exchange game. So let's say again, nice job, Harley. So ready? We'll go into a little drop it. He's like, hold on, lady. He's like, that's delicious. Nice. So if, let's say, Mr. H hasn't quite grasped how to grab and then let go, one of my favorite ways is to, again, make the toy come alive, have it become kind of fun to go chase and grab. And then once he's grabbed the toy, it's still alive and it's wiggling, so we're still engaging in play. When we want Mr. H to let go, I'm going to stop wiggling, so I'm not adding more movement. I like to bring food right to my beautiful boy's nose and start to get him to let go and think that there's value in releasing. If when he starts to get a little jumping jelly bean, yes. Just ignore, turn and pivot, or go into asking for another skill, which could be a sit, or it could be a lovely down, or another behavior like a find it. He says, guys, I really prefer to be naked. So again, we're going to ask him to go ahead and grab the toy. The toy is alive, it wiggles. And remember, I'm not revving the engine to the point where Mr. H doesn't know what he's doing. So a little excitement, then I go ahead and go drop it or give or out. And I'm going to see if Mr. Handsome, beautiful, relinquishes the item, and I feed him for that. So ready? Take it. So I would start to put it on a cue where you ask him to grab hold, grab the item. So it could be like go fetch if you're tossing an item. If you're playing with him interactively like this, I normally say take it. So I'm asking him to grab hold, what a good boy. And then from grabbing hold, we get him to relinquish the item. If it's easier to go from this into ready, find it, and we get him to find that find its are more appealing in the beginning, you're still practicing relinquishing or letting go, going from that excitement back into some softness. So we might get a little sit. Yes, for sitting, you can either feed or play again. So we'll maybe ask him to take it. The toy comes alive, and we're trying to get Mr. Handsome to go to town grabbing his toy. He seems to like more the rope. It probably feels a little bit nicer on his teeth than the ball. You guys may just have to experiment and see which types of toys he gets more involved with and he prefers. There is this misconception that playing tug with your dog creates aggression. If you're dealing with resource guarding, that's a whole nother topic. If you are dealing with what looks like resource guarding, which is where they kind of covet an item and they don't want to give it up and they get very overwhelmed and therefore can be even a little bit mouthy and or aggressive. So what I mean by that is they don't look happy as you're coming near. And if, let's say, yes, nice job, your puppy is running into some resource guarding, I would highly recommend reaching out to me because there's things we can work on to prevent the rehearsal, but also to help them feel there's less need for that behavior in the first place. It is a natural dog behavior, but it can be problematic in our society because it can cause harm to other pups or other people or children while your puppy could be a little overwhelmed with something nearby. So again, we might go right into go get it. Nice. Good boy. And again, if you're ever trying to work on retrieving of items, what I'd recommend is maybe Harley, say his little name, feed him a nice big jackpot for bringing the item. Remember, fetch, though, if you're going to be doing a little bit of fetching, should be done on flooring that has traction. So over here, you'll see that there's the rubber floor. If you're doing this at home, don't make it too exuberant, and you don't want him slipping and sliding on hardwood or tile. Because if so, then your puppy might actually injure himself. He's like, lady, I'm already winded. So you may find that carpeted outdoor zones, so maybe in your yard. Remember though, fetch is a high intensity play behavior and it can lead to joint or ligament damage. So I would highly recommend, as opposed to doing fetching to the extent where it can again cause damage, make sure your fetching is very soft, more of a rolling or tossing of the item versus the high intensity you sometimes see with chuckets or, for example, other products where you're, or even just your arm throwing something. You see the puppy running really hard, stopping, pivoting, and that's where a lot of ACL tears and cruciate other ligaments can be injured. So for Mr. Handsome, since he's offering this really nice little settle, I've been feeding him throughout this little vegging while I'm blabbing. So remember, sometimes you're going to also capture for just great behavior. So this could be, for example, okay, my puppy is giving me some really nice softness or relaxation or just nice general behavior that you'd like to have them repeat. Remember that whatever gets reinforced tends to be behavior that happens again. And he says, I'm already sleeping practically. So for Mr. Handsome, we could even try a little bit with stay. And just like I did with the other two boys, I don't want to make it too hard for him. So right now, I might just be simply doing it when we're successful. So notice how we did a little bit of playing, and then that means now he's maybe a little bit more tired. So he's more likely to be successful with his down stay. Remember, stays can happen anywhere. They don't have to happen on a target like a dog bed or a cot. You might also find that feeding Mr. Handsome between his front legs when he's doing a downstay to be helpful, because it reminds him that the good stuff comes from the floor or low. Some puppies get really excited as you're coming near. They try to jump up to reach you halfway. So I like to feed him while all 4 feet are on the floor if he's doing a lovely down, and reinforce that between his little front legs is where the good stuff happens. But now let's say I want to end my stay. We would again feed the lovely his last little tidbit. He's going to be all done chewing. Then we're going to say all done or release or some sort of cue word that you prefer. And we get him up. But the only time he gets snacks is while he's stuck. So we might get that lovely sit. I'm going to feed for that lovely position. Then we might try again with that lovely little down and see how he's feeling. So ready, down. He's like, that's very confusing. So if you don't get it in the beginning, just kind of keep at it. Hold the food to the ground in the beginning if you need to lure him. But then start to, again, make it where there's more value in trying some of these different positions. So again, we're going to rock a little bit with this downstay. So notice how he tried to meet me halfway. If he's a bit of a wiggler, not the end of the world. So remember, when they're babies, Lying down and holding a position, even for an adult dog, can be hard. So we might say stay, and then again feed him a little bit more rapid fire to make it easier for him to hold this down stay. So if you ever find he's not doing so well, gauge the environment and its distractions, gauge how tired or how rambunctious your puppy might be feeling, and then see from there if you can create behaviors that are successful because we're working with the puppy and not against the puppy. Nice. Beautiful. So let's say I'm going to end my stay here. I'm going to say all done and then get him up and wiggling. He's like, oh my goodness, so much work. So, but remember, if let's say you become the target, have novel toys that you don't see all the time and rotate through them. You can then have your puppy practice working this excitement and taking and dropping, and you might find play throughout some of your practice to be immensely helpful because it's almost a little bit of a recess from the deep thoughts. So it's a little bit of both physical and mental. So again, right here, we might go again, show the little snack, drop it, and feed for the relinquishing of the item. Then as he gets more comfortable, we might get a little sit. As opposed to feeding him, I'm going to go ahead and offer the toy. Ready? Take it. So now the toy could be the reinforcement for doing that little lovely sit position. What a good boy. Nice job. So again, we might go, ready, drop it. Yes, good job. Ready? We could do a little find it. So if let's say he's sometimes a little excited, you could use a little bit with the movement behavior of doing a find it where he has to go search for the snack to create a little bit more of a buffer between you and the item. If let's say you needed to help him move a little bit further away so he's not quite on top of you as he's trying to grab for the item again. So we might go ahead and say for him to go ahead and take it. There we go, good boy. And it might come alive and we're playing. And then again, as he's doing a good job, we might go drop it. Yes. And notice how my hand is not always right up against him as he gets more comfortable. Eventually, I'd fade out the hand as my lure to get him to release. And eventually it would just be, again, the drop it, give, or out. And then he would get a paycheck or play again. So, but right now we're still feeding him for all the right behavior. It's just that the food later will not be the reason behind the behavior, but instead the reinforcement for the behavior. So I don't love the wordage. I know some people will say it's almost like going from the bribe to instead the paycheck. Remember that, again, you're just trying to show your beauty what to do. So if he's ever having a hard time, you might create behavior through luring, capturing, and shaping. This is beautiful. So again, he's doing a nice job. We're still playing. It's alive. I might go, ready, drop it. Yes, and then feed for that. Good boy. Nice job. So we're going to try again. Ready? He's like, hold on, lady, your pants smell amazing. So again, we'll try to make the toy come alive. Go get that bad boy. Nice. Good boy. What a smart man. So nice. And again, then we might go, ready, drop it. Get his attention. If he's a little distracted, make sure there we are. Make sure he knows what you're asking. Remember, a lot of times we think they understand the wordage. What they tend to pick up on is normally the visual. So if my hand signal in the beginning looks like a hand coming near with snacks is my drop it or give, eventually I would fade out the hand signal and just go right into a drop or out behavior. Ready? Take it. He's like, lady, I was really hoping for more snacks. Oh my goodness, getting so tired. Nice job. So again, as he's getting more fluid, we might try again. Ready? So we'll play, we'll toys alive, we're wrestling. Then we're gonna go, ready, drop it. And if he's a little bit unsure, give him a little chance. So again, notice how he's shaking. He didn't quite notice me in the side. So right here, a little drop, nice. So sometimes give him the chance to work through the skill. It won't be always instant because sometimes he has to figure out what the heck we're asking in the first place. So there's learning on both ends. So if your babe doesn't always know what to do, try to show them with the food or luring. And then as they get more fluid, you would sometimes capture the right moments or sometimes shape for those skills as well. Ready? You did a really nice job. So we'll do a little find it and we'll give him a little break from this one and we'll try something else.